I'd like to welcome everybody to 30 Minutes GSW this morning. Last week we started talking about money. I believe we were able to establish certain things regarding money. This series will take some time, but I'm going to be patient. Because a lot of people wrote to me after last week, and there are a lot of questions. So I'm going to answer the questions, but not today. I'm going to finish the series, and then I'll compile the questions, and then we'll talk about them. While primarily I'm not one of those teachers of the gospel who focuses on money, I believe that if the kingdom does not understand how money works, then unbelievers would always have that upper hand over us in the world. So last week started by talking on savings. Let me quickly say this. If you are here and you started saving, and you made up your mind, I'm going to save, I'm going to save, I'm going to save. You've made up your mind. I'm going to ask you to please, especially if you're in Nigeria, open a domiciliary account. Open it with a bank that I know there are some banks where you can drop naira and tell them to save it for you in dollars. I believe that's a legit thing. Or you find a way to convert your money to dollars and save it as dollars. When you save naira as naira, you are going to lose so much due to inflation. The Nigerian currency currently is at a disadvantage of the whims and caprices of the international markets, bad decision making, corruption, and all forms of ills. So, anybody that has been looking at the dollar market will realize that the more the naira keeps sliding, the more your savings in naira puts you at a disadvantage. Personally, there was a time I wanted to buy a car, and I saved consistently for a year and 8 months. In order to buy this car, I was trying to raise, I think, about 1.4 million. By the time I got to 1.4 million, the price of the car had gone to almost 4 million because I saw the car, I liked it, but I didn't have the money. I said, okay, I'll save towards it. I started saving, and then when the money was ready, the inflation had dealt me a blow. I remember that time I was saving with Mansard. I almost caused all of them because they told me that if I save with them, they are going to be putting interest. So that's why I was thinking that the interest would make up for the inflation and the shortfall. It didn't. The money wasn't enough to buy what I wanted. And so if you're in Nigeria, you really want to develop a culture of saving, I'm going to ask you to please open a domiciliary account and save in dollars. You don't have to go about looking for binomial investment and all those investments where they're interested in is taking away your money. Don't do anything like that. That's foolishness, as in capital letter. Now somebody wants to give you 40 to 90% in 3 hours. Please, if the person can do that, the person doesn't need investors. The person should just take 1 hour and double it in 3 hours, then double it in 3 hours. By the time you do 3 hours in one day, the person will have become the richest person in the world. It's just simple mathematics. If anybody tells you, oh, this is capital, come and invest, it's absolute rubbish. Do not engage in such schemes. If you are ever save as dollars, you don't need to put your money in any scheme. Put it as dollars, save it there. You continue to gain everything. If the dollar goes to, if Naira goes to 100 Naira, fine. If it goes to get, no matter where it goes to, dollars is more stable and it is the same value here as it is there. Another advantage is if you want to travel abroad, because of the saving in dollars, it's easy. No, it's in fact. So please, no matter, save in dollars. Beg you, don't save in naira. A friend was telling me that a guy came to Nigeria from the US. He had $3,000. He converted the money to naira, put it in fixed deposits. After I think 2 years, a year, I'm not sure the duration. He will do his money from fixed deposits, converted it back to dollars, and he got $2,100. The same amount. So you can see the advantage of the dollar here. So it's best to save as dollars. You can open a domiciliary account with $100, with $50 even, or €50 or whatever. So do that. Now, I have to continue from where I stopped last week. I want us to deal with the cankerworms of money. Emotion is a cankerworm of money that I want to mention today. So somebody wrote to me and said, "Oh, what about family? You said that we should be saving, but we have relatives, we have a lot of people that are depending on us for financial help, and we cannot all just close our eyes and say no to them. So what am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to do?" Okay. Again, in this, I'm going to defer to a man of God that many of us know, who taught me a principle about how to deal with family and money. This man of God is a lawyer, started the El Shaddai Chambers, and he was born a Muslim, somewhere in Ogun State. And because he was born a Muslim, their household, they had many children. The father was a polygamist and all that, so a lot of relatives. He was the first lawyer to come out of that family. And as soon as he came out of the family and started his chambers, it began to prosper. He's a very strong human rights advocate, a very strong anti-government person, who, by the grace of God, has attained the level of influence in Nigeria today. So this man of God said, when he started out, as soon as he graduated and started earning a salary, people will send their children to him to come and collect school fees. Like, this is September, school fees season. It's how people will just be coming. School fees, school fees, school fees. He said he looked at it one day and told himself, I will never prosper like this because I have to give everybody money. I'm the first lawyer that came out of this family. And so everybody comes and they say I should pay their school fees. How am I going to do it? I'm going to pay school fees for all the ones that are younger than me. And some of my cousins are, this is too much. How would I prosper like this? So he said he told them that, hey, see guys, even though I'm working and I'm beginning to make money, I cannot help you now. What I have now is seed money. I have not made any profit from this. So that means if I'm earning 100,000, I'll share it to you guys every month. And once I share it myself, you are waiting for me to collect my next salary. So from paycheck to paycheck, I'm going to have to be doling out money. Everybody is waiting for my paycheck. Everybody. Like, who prospers like that? So he said he learned how to say no. So he told them no. He said no. He said he complained, but he didn't care. And this guy is a very strong-willed person. I think some of you will have guessed who he is. Very strong-willed person. When he set his course, it is not different. It's not very easy to dissuade him from the right course when he sets it. So he said no. He said no. So what he did was that he said he took 100 million naira. He took it to the bank after he won a very important lawsuit and a lot of money came in. He said he took it to the bank and invested it. And that after some years, the money started getting good interest. So it was the interest that he began to use to help people that are in need. So he gave himself a period of like 5 years. And then he began to use the interest on the investment to send members of his family to school. He said today he has sponsored over 110 family members through their education, both at home and abroad. Imagine that. And he said this principle worked because When he said no, everybody complained, but he told them, he said, there's nothing I can do to help you now. If I give you all this, then how do I have many people? When I was working on a 9 to 5 job, I have somebody who earns like 3 times what I earn in my office. Not by virtue of qualification, because it was at that time was a facility manager, but because it was one of the first staff members of the establishment I worked with. And by the time I joined them, I had already been with them for 10 years. So every year they give me a level of increment, a level of increment, a level of increment for 10 years. So he was earning a lot of money. Not a lot now, maybe about 200,000 a month. As a facility manager, that's quite a lot. This guy will always come back within the first 5 days of the month begging for support. Buy me lunch. Oh, please help me. And at the beginning, I would think to myself, oh, because facility manager is a glorified term for messenger in that place. So basically, he was a messenger, but they call him facility manager. But what he does is run around, fix globe, where something is not good, check it. Then office members, staff members will send him on errand. So come to me. I need this. I'll need that. So one day, uh, the accountant called me and said, so and so came to your office. So and so came to me asking for financial help. So I had to turn him down. So I said, oh, why? You know that it's a messenger. I earn so little. The man began to laugh. Is any more than you? Is any more than you? Because you see the title messenger does not mean that you earn more than him. You just joined us and we placed you at a certain level and a certain salary. His level is higher than yours because he's been with us for many years and he earns more than you. Then I was a personal assistant uh, at a church establishment, and there was a structure to how they pay their salaries. So then he said, and I said, but how come he's always coming here to beg for money? He said, oh, it's relative. Everybody in their family depends on him. So before you know it, once he collects a salary, he has to start sorting people, send this one to this one, send this one to this one, send this one to this one. Before you know it, before this, he doesn't have anything. It's almost, when I met him, was in his mid-40s, wasn't married, wasn't living by, doesn't have his own. I said, no. So when they told me that, I said, oh, no problem, I'll help him. So the following month, as soon as they paid us, I called him for a meeting. And when they came in, I said, try something this month. He said, what? I said, don't give anybody anything. He said, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, don't give anybody anything. You've been consistent for many years, right? And you're a messenger here. And there's no hope of getting a better job somewhere. Don't give anybody anything. It's time for you to improve on your life. You have to invest in yourself now. So take National Open University of Nigeria form, uh, get a degree, sponsor yourself to school so that you can give them more, sponsor yourself to school. Tell them that this organization said they will sack you if you don't go to school. Tell them that. That's so you cannot give anybody anything now. You're about to lose your job. Raise an alarm. Raise an alarm. Don't be timid about it. Raise an alarm. Tell them, yeah, I'm about to lose my job. Let everybody, your family that will be giving money, let them know that the golden cow is about to die. I said all of them will adjust. I'm telling you. So he said he would try it. And then he sent the message to his mom. And then to some other relative, I told them, I'm about to lose my job. Please pray for me. I'm about to lose my job. So they started praying. And then none of them asked him for money that month. Because he was about to lose his job. So everybody just said that it won't be sensitive to ask him for money. For the first month, he was able to keep his 200,000 naira salary. For the first time, was able to keep it. I said, he finished the month with about 110,000 naira in his pocket. Because even in that, there was a lady who was seeing at the time. And the lady's family needed help. So you understand what I'm saying now. So you are earning 200,000 and your family always needs help. So you give them everything. And now you want to marry a wife again, and the wife also brought in her own family's needs. So basically, you are just going to die poor. There is no that's it. You are going to live a life where you would never have enough. So you have to, because I told you, I said, you have to take care of this lady because you know how ladies are. So you want to marry, I mean, no insult like that, but if you want to marry a girl and the lady says, oh, we need, and you can see the need that she has, and you cannot measure up as a man, begins to cast some kind of doubts, and then before you know it, you can lose the girl. And he was already in his mid 40s, about 45. I didn't want her to lose this girl, especially because that girl was still a student and she's a fine girl. I didn't mean that anybody should go and spend all their money on the fine girl. I'm just saying, he was lucky to meet this girl. He was very favored that this girl said yes to marry him. So if there are some compromises to be made, let's make them let's make them to keep the fine girl. So I said, okay, you have to give the girl, but no other person. So of course he was able to give the girl some money so that he was able to retain his money. And so nobody asked him for money for many months. He was able to save. And then he got the form and he started the school thing. And then he went to his family. They helped me beg my bosses. They begged and begged. My bosses said I must go to school. So now my bosses said I must go to school, which means all the money I earn now will go to my school fees. It was like a joke. But I kid you not, this brother finished in 4 years while I was still in that company. He graduated from the National Open University. The office supported him with his education. They didn't give him the full money, but I think they were giving him maybe 50% of his whatever. He got so the office was supported him because it was a long-standing staff, and he came to that office with a secondary school certificate. So it was a good thing that he continued his education. The office supported it. When he graduated, the same office gave him promotion. So he became an assistant administrator in the same office. He was moved up so that he earned more. Despite the education and all that, he still had enough money in his pocket. He was able to get married. He was able to start a family. Of course, as soon as he graduated and he made noise about it and he got married, the people that had been considerate in the family that are not asking for anything, they came back. So now they started with this one has an operation. In fact, there are months that they will pay for 4 different operations. Say, it's my cousin, he's having an operation, it's my and I was about to leave the organization at the time. So I called him for the second time and I told him, the principle that worked for you the first time can still work for you. Many of us don't want to lose our goodwill with people because it is true that goodwill is a currency. Let me say that again. You know, there are some of us that when people have like 50 million and they want to invest it, they will think of you. They will say, let me call Benga. You should have an idea of how to invest this money so that this money will continue to be profitable to me. The fact that that person thought of you is goodwill. Some of us, goodwill that's a good currency, we have abused it. We have abused it. Some people, their goodwill is intact, and goodwill is good currency. There are some people that will come to me and say, Benga, I need 5 kobo. And I will think 10 times before giving it to them. There are some people, they do not need to ask me. All they need to do is hint at a need. Hint. Just mention that, I wanted to do something, but once I heard the but, I'll send them 100% what they need. Without any interest, I'll tell them to keep it. Why? Goodwill. So I understand that when people give to friends and family, we want to preserve our goodwill. It's a currency that many of us want to preserve, but you do not have to preserve goodwill with money. You don't have to. Goodwill is preserved with good Christian conduct. When you give people the right advice at the right time, when you have the right word to speak to them in season. If somebody comes to you asking for money, and you're able to explain to the person the reason why you didn't give, without lacking empathy, you pick the call and the person says, "Oh, my friend, can you borrow me this amount of money?" And you say, I don't think I have it, but what do you need it for? And then the person says, "Oh, my wife is in the hospital. She's having a baby. Crisis, crisis, crisis." And you confirm this to be true. You can decide, okay, yeah, even though it's not a good investment, but to help a family, to save a family, okay, I can help this. But recently, a cousin of mine came to see me. A cousin, my dad's younger brother's son. Then he said, you are our leader. That's me. I'm leader now. You are our leader. God has placed you up there. I said, yes, sir. I need your help. I said, okay, how can I be of help? When I got married in 2007, we did church wedding, we did introduction, but we didn't do engagement. Now, after 5 children, and about 14 or thereabouts years of marriage, I want to go and do my engagement. But my work is not doing well. My work is not doing so well. I don't have money. I want you to sponsor. I want you to sponsor this engagement. Support me with whatever you might have, but I have a budget. I said, I should take my money and pay for your engagement after 5 years, after 5 children. That will be tough. He said, you don't understand, sir. You don't understand. It's like I just kidnapped the girl. Engagement is the main wedding. Engagement is the main wedding. Fine. If engagement is the main wedding, why are you not doing it and just inviting me to come and eat? Why should I sponsor your wedding? There are so many things I can do for you. Your work is not doing well. You didn't come to me saying, my work is not doing well. How do you help me so that I begin to make profit, so that my work is established again? We didn't think of that. But you want me to sponsor your engagement? You want me to put down money, put car, and sponsor? I will never. I'll never. Those are frivolous things that you shouldn't even be found being a part of. Those are sentimental things. It's after you've eaten, after you have money to the point where you don't know what to spend it on, that you take on white elephant projects like that. Projects that will take your money and give you nothing but a good feeling. Because if I sponsor that wedding, what will I gain? There's no benefit, but I will gain goodwill. Remember what I said earlier? This young man will look at me and say, but I think I sponsored my wedding. He's a good man. God bless him. That's what I'll gain. And sometimes the goodwill can extend to my children. So maybe in future, one of my children wants to get married, and this guy will say, for what God did for me at my wedding, for sponsoring my wedding, I will also sponsor the wedding of one of his children, or I'll make sure I'm a big part of that wedding. That's how it works in families. Many of us will realize this, that goodwill, that we trade goodwill a lot in families. We trade it with money, we trade it with our presence. So when someone is having a party, we want to be there so that when we're having a party, people can come for our party. So goodwill, like I said, is currency. And so many of us don't know how to preserve goodwill without spending money. So I'm trying to make you realize that today, that there is a way to preserve goodwill You don't have to necessarily go broke doing it. Have principles. Know the kind of support that you are willing to give, and set a cap on your welfare cases. So if you have welfare cases that you have budgeted for the month, and you say to yourself, this month for welfare case, if anybody comes to ask me for help, I'm going to give 20,000 naira. Make sure that that 20K is what you give. If somebody comes to you saying, oh, I have a headache, you are a Christian, pray for the person, for God's sake. That's also currency. Divine healing is currency that I use very much to my advantage. Just as many of us don't want to live as Christians. If people call me and say, come and pay for hospital bill, if it is like somebody give birth to a baby, okay. I consider that as sometimes, because the person has to go to a hospital compulsorily. Doctors will get involved. There'll be a bill to pay. No matter how much you pray, you still pay when it comes to delivery of babies. So I consider that as okay, natural. You have to spend money here. But somebody can come and say, oh, one of my kidney is bad. I'm looking for 30 million to do operations. Where are you located? I'm in Zamfara. I'm in Lokoja. I'm in Lagos. Okay, when can I pray with you? And then I'll pray. And well, most of the time, I get miracles. And when I get the miracle, it saves the person all the 13, whatever is raising, and saves me the headache of having to give the person money. So I've used what I have to get goodwill, because the person will always think fondly of me. And at the same time, I didn't spend a dime. And this works for me several times. I have a friend, I don't want to mention his name, we went to university together. Suddenly I saw on Facebook, hey, raise money for this guy, raise money for this guy. Kidney, oh, he's going to India, he's going to India. People started calling me, oh, this is your old schoolmate. Do you remember this guy? Do you remember this guy? God has blessed you. You should sponsor his whatever. I don't know why people want to help you to spend your money. Like, for real, I should do what? Say, you should do whatever you can help. It's not a good thing for people to say that you are both in the same set and this guy died at this young age when you are available. Somebody was trying to help me spend my money. Like, I should just write a check of $10,000 or $20,000 and give him, so that he'll go and get operation, so that me, I'll be perpetually poor, and then I'll be telling everybody that it was because I sponsored this operation that I didn't have money. I cannot live like that. So when the pressure was much and I got calls from everywhere, on the day I was having naming ceremony for my youngest baby, myself and my younger brother were together. So he too now mentioned it. My younger brother said, have you heard about this guy? They said his kidney, this thing, they are raising big money for him. I said, no problem. I said, do you know his house? He said, yes. I said, fine. We were having naming ceremony for my baby. It was around 7 p.m. People had been coming and going, coming and going. I told my wife that I have to quickly step out. I got in the car. My brother drove. We drove all the way to Bagada. We got to this young man's house. I said, at home. I laid hands on him. The anointing of the Holy Spirit flowed. He was healed. Pam, pam, pam. I saved myself a lot of dollars. I'm just telling you how divine healing is a currency. It will save you money and you will get a lot of goodwill, because this young man told everybody, it was just a bill that came to my house to pay for me. It was just a bill that came to my house to pay for me. It was just a bill that came. What does that do? That will spread the goodwill to other people. Oh, Brother Benga came to, and that helped me. I didn't spend my money. I have Jesus. It's a currency that can never be devalued. If you have him, you save yourself a lot of stress, especially when it comes to spending on emergencies, hospital bills, and other things that wants to take money out of your pockets by force and by fire. So don't forget, goodwill is currency. We want to preserve it with money. There's some goodwill that are best preserved when you act as a Christian, give good counsel. That gives you goodwill. Heal the sick, goodwill. Be empathetic, be kind, but do not be so eager to throw out your money. saving dollars. This series will continue next week Sunday. I'm still talking about plugging the holes here. We've not started talking about how to now make money supernaturally. I'm able to get there soon. Thank you, Father, because you've blessed us on every side. Thank you because we are gaining and gleaning wisdom every day. We are growing by the power of the Holy Spirit, and we are doing well. Glory be to your name. On our finances today, I decree surplus. I decree increase. I declare that none of your children shall be in debt, that will clear their debts, that will prosper them, that the word of God has made with faith in their hearts and it is producing great results. Blessed be your holy name, O Lord. By the time I will talk to you again next week, especially on money, I declare that you are ruling and reigning over money. Our money will no longer have you underfoot. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Is somebody blessed?
Yes, sir.
Let's shout a big hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.